Well, the prayer, they were always teaching us, to be broken and to take the smallest piece of cake on the table and the plate, like to die to self. And so, yeah, so when I used to pray at night, I pray with tears. I just asked the Lord to break me, and grind me to powder and take all pride from me and all that kind of thing. Which, of course, I guess the Lord knew the truth about how I really was or felt. But, He likes to hear that kind of prayer, and that's the kind He likes to answer. So be careful what you pray for. Well, years ago when I was in Saskatchewan in Regina and very poor, and I had in an ugly old housekeeping room, and my dad, I had no relative or anybody could help me financially. I had no home behind me, and I had no welfare. I had nothing, and I couldn't pay the rent, and I lost my, job. So what happened was that I saw this old man sitting in the park in Regina with his head in his hands, and the cripple came by that made a lot of money begging, and he stood with his crutch and he poked the man, in the ankle with his crutch. And the old man, he never responded. So what happened was I felt very bad, and I went home and reminded me my dad, he was sometimes unemployed and this and that. And so I went home and I said, dear God, if I can't do anything to help anybody, maybe I can write a poem. And I'd never wanted to write a poem before in my life. And I had no idea how you write a poem, and I had no feeling for poetry. But I asked God, and I said, dear Jesus, if you give me the gift of poetry, I promise I'll use it for you. And a strange thing happened, but I heard a voice in my head saying, well, you have to have a pattern, so count on your fingers and make every second line rhyme. There's so many beats to a line. And so I just sat there and I started saying, alone in the park sat a weary old man, bowed down with sin and despair, with no one to tell him of God's great love, that the Savior his burdens would bear. Wrapped in the thoughts of a wretched past, by fear of death ever haunted, in solitude sad he sat there alone, uncared for, unloved, and unwanted. He'd had many friends in the bygone days when riches were at his command, had helped other men along the way with a willing and eager hand. But now through misfortune his life had been ruined. He had to bear it alone, for not one soul would give him a chance, and they robbed him of money and home. Hungry and ill, the aged man sat in clothes that were tattered and torn, fearing to look at the thronging crowd that eyed him in withering scorn. One cripple came by and with mocking laugh gave him a poke with his crutch. Just wanted to see if his living, said he, and hobbled away to his lunch. But the lonely old man said never a word, did not even notice the sun, saw not the flowers, heard not the birds, for he was seeking someone who'd love him and care for his sorrow, who all of his sin would forgive. Oh, could it be there was such a one with whom he forever could live? Then just as the sun was sinking low in the golden-tinted west, the old man heard these blessed words, come unto me now and find rest. The Christ of the cross had entered his heart, the burden of sin rolled away. His face lit up with a radiance bright, 'twas no longer night, it was day. A silence of awe and reverence deep fell on the watching throng. They saw not his soul as it took its flight, but heard the sweet angel song. Then one by one they knelt by the man, their laughter and pride all gone. Forgive us, dear Lord, for our sinful neglect, for the old man's sermon lives on. That was my first poem. I was born in Hamilton, Ontario, a premature baby, pound and a half, and shouldn't have lived, and that's the honest truth, of course. And then I was born into a household filled with priceless antiques like Peter Paul Rubens paintings and original Wedgwood and original Spode and all kinds of other things like that. Rosewood furniture, antique furniture. But a lot of it's in the Royal Ontario Museum because when I was, my grandfather Webb owned that stuff. And then When he passed away in 1938, he had left everything to my mother, and she got hit with a car and died a few weeks later. So, you know, that's how everything got scuttled by the big lawyers there. Oh, there's some wonderful stuff here. There is stuff here that's very interesting. Oh, this one is a hymn.
Okay.
It's an old-fashioned hymn that the groups don't like anymore, but I wrote it, and I think I could sing it. It goes, no, it's kind of an old tune. You go, I rest me in the ark of God, there is no other place. The blood-stained cross of Christ my Lord, it is that sacred place. The place where sky and arch of earth merge, blending glory space. And I step in, partake, commune with Jesus face to face. Blessed covenant, Almighty God, the Paschal Lamb received. He sealed and shut me in with him the moment I believe. I don't even remember when I wrote that, you know. That I even had a tune to it, you know. Well, it's a borrowed tune from somewhere, you know, but well, it's kind of hard to say, isn't it, you know, that it seemed a pretty wasted life. And I mean, there were times when it was terrible, yes. I mean, I don't know how I stayed sane, you know. And I will say, if I had not really had a genuine experience with the Lord ahead of time when I was 14 and had been gone to Three Hills and was very what the Mennonite brethren used to be, nothing worldly, no movies, nothing worldly, just the Lord, and really wonderful sermons and the old hymns, and that was my whole life, and that was my sanity. And otherwise, I mean, I would have been totally destroyed. Now this one is to hold a sunset. I would like to hold a sunset in my hands, defy death and time and space, and leap beyond the barriers immovable that bind me fast. Down here near earth, life is an illusion, a mocking fantasy, a visionary's nightmare. It is out yonder where the soul would fly forever through the ocean depths of cloudless space and endless void. Sunrise and sunset, golden pink and blue of sky. To capture just once this ecstatic wonder, I would trade a lifetime.